What be all else to me, save that thou art, thou my best thought, by day or by night, waking or sleeping, thy presence my life. Be thou my wisdom, and thou my true word. I ever with thee, and thou with me, Lord. Still in my vision, O ruler of all.
Tell me the story behind the title, My Spiritual Journey, a Catholic Irish dancer story.
I started it off as just my spiritual journey, and then I started thinking, well, how can it be unique? And since I'm kind of a unique person, I had met with another authoress who had said, well, it'd probably be a good idea to have two sentences, and it would work better as the title of the book. So I started it off as My Spiritual Journey, and then also I wanted to get into my Catholic background and my dancing background in Irish dancing. And so I'm the Catholic Irish dancer, and this book is about my spiritual journey.
So, tell me about your Catholic background.
My family is fourth generation Californians, and we are on my father's side of the family. My name was Galindo, and they were Catholic as well. And my mother's side, the Coopers, they were Catholic as well. So I was raised Roman Catholic with the history on both sides of my family. And both my brother and I had a lot of influence by our grandmother, who had us going to Mass every Sunday. And I had an uncle of mine who went to Mass every day and would tell us kids that we were going to go to hell if we didn't go to Mass every Sunday. So I went through Catholic school. I went to All Saints Church, and I went from kindergarten all the way through 8th grade, then Moreau High School, and graduated from there. And then I went through the Catholic University of Portland, and so I am the example of a Catholic education from kindergarten all the way to the university. And then I went into ministry as a Sunday school teacher in a Catholic church. So in the beginning of my spiritual journey, that was my life as a Roman Catholic.
What's Irish dancing, and how did you get involved with it?
I always like to describe Irish dancing as tap dancing 3 feet off the ground. That's the best way to explain it. When I saw my cousin, I started with tap jazz, ballet, and gymnastics. And then when I saw my cousin doing Irish dancing, and my grandmother had gotten us into, I was hooked, and that was it. And back when I was growing up, there wasn't much known about Irish dancing until Michael Flatley started with Lord of the Dance and Riverdance, and thanks to him, he really caused a lot of exposure with the Irish dancing. So when you see Riverdance and Lord of the Dance and all the various other Feet of Flame and all the other ones, those are a version of Irish dancing, more of the showy pieces. And then there's the more traditional. And Irish dancing is quite a culture worldwide. There's competitions worldwide all over the place. And I was what's called a TCRG. I was a certified Irish dancing instructor. So Irish dancing's been a part of my life through most of my life.
How did you become a Pentecostal Christian?
Well, my husband was raised a Pentecostal Christian with the Assembly of God. And when we first started going out, we both would go to the Episcopal Church because he was playing around with different religions and was Lutheran at the time. And I was Roman Catholic. And so we were Episcopal for quite a while. And then when we moved, my husband started going to an Assembly of God church, and I used to have to pick him up because I would go to Sunday Mass, and then I would sit in on the services. And I never thought I would be a born-again Christian. My mother can't stand them. But as I started attending more, it was such a spiritual experience, and not as traditional as the Catholic Church and restrained. And it was true worship, and I really felt the presence of God there. And that drew me into being a Pentecostal Christian. And I get into a lot more detail about that in my book.
I've heard you say that this book is a miracle. Can you explain why?
Yes. In fact, my daughter-in-law, Kim, just asked me about when I started writing this. And it was years and years ago. I had started journaling, and I had no idea that I was writing a book. And, then it started growing and growing, and that's when God put it in my heart to write this book. And at one point, I was writing about my travels in Hawaii and our visits to different religious locations, a Buddhist temple and another temple. And as I was writing the chapter, I was thinking, I'm going to get under some persecution because of this, because people are going to think I'm bashing other religions, even when I wasn't. And I started to really kind of get afraid because, I didn't want to deal with the repercussions. So I was really wondering about whether I should scale it back or not. And I had gone to this other church because I really loved the music, and I was praying about, what I should do. And it was after the church service, and I was kneeling and praying, and this older woman who played the bass guitar on the worship team came up to me, asked if she could pray for me, and said she had a message. And she said, God wants you to know not to worry about being persecuted from writing this book. He will protect you. And that was the biggest shock for me, because that wasn't my regular church. I didn't know that woman. She didn't know me, and no one knew that I was writing a book. So to me, that's a miracle.
Why did you write this book?
The reason why I wrote this book is when I first started becoming involved in the Pentecostal church, I saw how effective witnessing was. And for those that don't know what that term means, that means someone tells their story about how they became a Christian and how they went through their hardships and how God got them through them. And so I have really gone through a lot in life. I've gone through alcohol abuse, various other problems in my life. And I wanted to use those experiences to help other people that are going through the same thing, especially with those that are struggling with addiction. I wanted to share my story about how God helped me get out of it and release me from being addicted. And there's various other stories where I share a lot of my personal history and how God helped to get me through it. And I think God wanted me to write this book so I could help other people that are suffering and are empty spiritually and who are looking for answers to their problems, and most of all, we just need peace, and God can give them that peace.
Will there be a sequel?
At first I thought no. I thought this would be my only book, but that's not God's plan. I'm in the process of writing another book to help people that are dealing with being laid off and what they can do to help find another job. That's a little bit off subject, but also too, I'm currently active in ministry right now, and I know there will be a lot of other stories about what I encounter in my own life. And God has also put it in my heart to write the stories of various missionaries around the world. I've met a lot of missionaries, and they are fascinating people, and their stories need to be told. So, yes, I plan on, I don't know if it'll be a sequel, but I know that there will be additional books that I'll be writing. Still in my vision, O ruler of all,